In this episode, I'll be talking about Succession Season 2, episodes 6 through 10, the latter half of the season. So let's dive into the latter half of Succession Season 2. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the dub cast. Having just finished season 2 of Succession, I think this was a pretty good season. I'm really excited for where this show is headed into season 3 and beyond. Well, season 4, obviously, the show's ended already. I'm really enjoying everything that's been going on. I thought that this season was a lot better than the first season, maybe just because we know the characters a lot better. The dynamics played out a lot better this season, I think, and I like the little cliffhanger they leave at the end of the second season. Not sure what that was like when it came out because obviously I'm watching this a couple years late. But regardless, season 2 was a very fun ride for me. I'm really looking forward to finishing the show, seeing what happens in the end. And yeah, so let's get moving right along with our episode. So episode 6 is titled Argostes, and we leave off right where we left off in episode 5. Sorry, just adjusting something. So essentially, still working on this Pierce deal. So Logan is there in the private jet, and Logan sends Kendall to quote unquote impress upon the team working the deal with Pierce that he needs the deal done yesterday. And so Kendall goes Volter mode and just gets super angry and talks about how they need to be working 24-hour shifts. He slaps snacks out of their hands, gets really aggressive. So this was interesting to see Kendall have this sort of aggressive side that we saw play out a little bit, like the deadpan face and just going crazy. Like he was more berserk here than in Volter, but the way he's just so deadpan and kind of like a dick, just like his dad, we see that play out in this episode or this scene especially, and definitely something to watch moving forward as we move on to the last two seasons. So, well, I'm gonna stop saying we because you guys have already probably seen the show and I'm just watching it for the first time, but yeah. Interested to see if we see this version of Kendall again, especially with how season 2 ends. But regardless, we move on. So Shiv, still kind of like an intern with Logan and the company, is working on auditing with Frank, and she just says, "You know what? I'm not doing this. This is too boring. I'm going home. I'm quitting, and I'm going home. And for the day, I'm not doing this." Which, if this was anybody else, they probably would just be told not to work with the company anymore. But of course, it's Shiv. I think the person I think is Logan's favorite. So I'm sure Logan isn't probably getting day-to-day updates on Shiv. He's got a lot going on regardless of her, so she knows that she can probably just get away with doing stuff that she thinks is boring. She's kind of fast-tracking herself by skipping the boring stuff and just moving forward, so I thought that was an interesting note there. So they are at the Argostes. It's kind of like this business conference, and this was cool to see. Like, apparently Zuckerberg's there, and they name drop a bunch of people, so that was funny. And so Logan sees Sandy Furness, and he says that starts a rumor that Sandy Furness has syphilis. He's like, "Go work on it. Go work your magic. Tell people about it." So that was a funny aspect of this episode for sure. And I don't think they bump past, but maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not sure. But this huge conglomerate meeting of all the business leaders in America, kind of some like high tech summit at this random remote resort somewhere. I'm forgetting exactly where it is, but everyone's got little name tags. Tom is going on nature hikes with like people, and there's TED Talks essentially. So cool to see that because I feel like that was pretty modern. So that was a nice insight there. And so they come to find out that there's a big bomb piece coming in from a magazine that's going to impact cruises negatively. And when this was first mentioned in season 1, I thought when Tom shredded the documents that maybe there wasn't really anything to this storyline, but everything's coming out now. They there's a whistleblower, and I think it's a he. Yeah, it's a he, the first one. So he's going to tell them about everything that happened with the cruises. So in season 1, we know that there's murder, there's sexual exploitation, sexual assault. That's the word I was looking for. So this is not good, but they don't really know how much they have, so they can't really like gauge the situation. It's kind of obviously everything in the show happens at the worst possible time, so they can't really decipher it when they're all, especially in Argosties. So we'll see how that plays out over the latter half of these last 5 episodes for sure, but this is kind of the first little thing about it. So Shiv was like, "Hey, what's up?" to Logan, and he's not telling her anything. And this is weird to me because it seems to me like even though Shiv kind of screwed up her chance by just saying that I'm the successor, like I am, you promised me whatever, blah blah blah. Like, why wouldn't Logan like clue her in on some of this stuff? Like he clues in Roman and Kendall. Maybe he doesn't want her to see the bad parts of it, but if she's gonna be the CEO slash whatever Logan's title is, she's gonna have to know about this stuff, especially these old skeletons in the closet that you got to clear out. So interesting about how Logan doesn't really tell Shiv about most things. It seems like she's kind of got a pry, whereas he pulls in Kendall all the time and pulls in Roman all the time to talk through these things. Obviously, Connor is kind of irrelevant in all this, but I don't know. I thought that was interesting. And Jerry is going to send Roman on a side mission to find funding to make them be able to go private. And this is a funny arc to see play out. Obviously, when I was watching this episode, I didn't know that what was going to happen with the person he meets. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, Jerry and Roman working together once again. So Greg and Tom have an issue this episode about a catchphrase that they need to use for kind of putting out this PR nightmare for ATN. It's basically the Fox News for those of you who are uninitiated, and they decide they can't use "we're listening" because they actually are listening through like the cameras and stuff. So this was a funny scene, probably relatable too because we're probably all being listened to as we speak. So yeah, definitely playing on big corporations listening. So interesting there. We'll see where Greg and Tom try and get their situation figured out with all this. I think it's later on in this episode. So something I thought was really interesting and plays out over the last 5 episodes as well is Logan with Marsha. So I think Marsha gets the news. Marsha doesn't know yet about the bomb dropping from Cruises, and Logan kind of has this scene where he's like reaffirming with her about like, do you trust me? Like, do you love me? Blah blah blah. And I thought this was interesting because I always thought Logan put Marsha over everybody. That's the way it seemed in season 1 at least, where he wants her to have both 2 chair seats, I think it was, on the trust or something, or 2 values of 2 of the trusts, whatever, 2 of like the seats on the board. I think that's what it was. But I guess that's not really true because he doesn't really trust her here. He's like, hey, what's going on? Are we good? And needs a check in before the bomb drops. So maybe Marsha isn't queen pin as I thought she was. So I don't know. I was pretty surprised by this scene, to be honest. So Kendall sees his boy Stewie. Of course, he's one of the people here at Argosties, and Stewie's like, "Yeah, I don't really trust you." Kendall tries to make a peace offering, and that's understandable. Kendall has flip-flopped like three times at this point, and yeah, by the end of the season, he's going to do it again. So, pretty understandable statement from Stewie. I think Stewie went from being an asshole to being kind of like relatable because he's just trying to get a business deal done. He's just trying to cash out, and Kendall got in his way, so now he's like, yeah, I'm not really like down for whatever. And Kendall's like, gotcha. So Roman is going to meet with Edward. He's like this foreign national. I think he's from. I'm not gonna try and guess in case it's wrong. So he's a foreign national. He's got a lot of money. His dad has a lot of money. So he's the first guy, or he's the guy that Jerry sent Roman after to go talk to money. So Roman does a good job, and I will say now my stock of Roman is going up. He impressed me a lot this season. He wasn't as annoying as he was in the first season. I'm really starting to come to like Roman, but he's able to get a good pitch on him, open the door for further conversation, go into the bathroom, does coke with him, I think, and then Greg walks in, and Roman dries his hands on him, and Greg's like, hey, I need some coke, and this is bad because we see it how the family's lifestyle has impacted Greg because he was just an innocent kid, but now he's like, I need to coke up to talk to people here. Come on, Greg, get your head in the game, bro. Moving on, this is kind of the party's like first introduction to the Argosties conference or whatever, so everyone's kind of just talking around, mingling, and Tom meets a girl named Nia or Naya, I forget how you pronounce it. So Shiv is like, no, we're not doing that. And Tom is taken aback because he didn't know that Shiv was coming, and he also thought that they were in an open relationship. But turns out we find out she took him 10 days to tell him about the actor Willa's friend that she slept with, and I think this is pretty unfair. Shiv gives the reason that she has a face, so she's not allowed to with Tom. But so does the actor. Like, I mean, he's not a famous person, but let Tom do his thing, bro. Like, damn, you don't let him. Like, you guys have no sexual contact from what we've seen, because you are always doing something else or on your phone and not really interested, and then you get to go just sleep with Nate and go sleep with the actor, but Tom meets a girl for once, and that's not it. So once again, not really loving this Tom dynamic with Shiv. Feel bad for Tom at this point, and later on we'll see him this play out. But I was feeling for Tom in this scene especially. So while everyone's mingling, Roman proposes a team up between him and Jerry, Rockstar and Mole Woman. Kind of thought this was going on already. Seems like they have a good dynamic, a good collaboration between themselves. So interested to see how this plays out between Jerry and Roman. Obviously, they had the bathroom scene where she was like, I don't even like kink shaming him, not kink. It's like whatever it's like. I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic. So definitely want to see where that one ends up. Yeah, there's something else, but I think that's not this episode. So essentially, this magazine is the one behind the whistleblower. They're backing him up. They're going to put a story out, but they're not cooperating, and they're going to release the article early. They send like the Roy send like the death trap, like, hey, we're going to fuck your life up. We're going to end your magazine, blah, blah, blah. But they don't really go for it. They are going to release this no matter what. So Kendall and Logan are like, let's just bail out from the situation and not do this. They want to get everything out from under them. They want to get to Pierce first before they find out. But it's like this weird dynamic where we don't really know who knows what, especially on the Pierce side of things. I don't think Nan, the leader of Pierce, knows. I don't think Rhea did know, but it was just a weird breakfast. But right when they're at breakfast, Kendall gets the alert on his phone. He's checking it. He's reading it while they're having the conversation with Nan, trying to finish the deal on this. But this was a good scene because then they have to just leave breakfast early. There's like all sorts of dramatics playing out. But the article is not as bad as they expected. It is our boy Lester who is behind it, who they called Mo Lester. And once the article drops, the family gets a meeting. Everyone has a different strategy for what they want to do. Logan says condemn and move on. He's tired of everyone all talking at once. And if I was Logan, bro, like with these meetings, I feel like he's been this season. He was a lot more open to the crowd. Maybe he's trying to figure out the successor thing for once, actually, like trying to take ideas from people. But he ultimately just decides what he wants to do, and that's condemn and move on. So what that means is at their panel later, they were supposed to speak, Kendall and Roman. So they want Shiv to come in now because she has a PR experience, obviously in politics. She's got a lot to say about everything. But she gets back at Logan for not telling her about everything because she's not fully briefed. She gives that reason of not being on the panel. And yeah, good for Shiv. Use your leverage, get get what's yours, girl. I'm rooting for Shiv. I'm rooting for everyone at this point. I'm team everyone, but good for Shiv. Put it back over Logan. He doesn't get to just walk over people and do whatever he wants. There's going to be consequences. So yeah, go Shiv. Don't be on that panel, even though you're going to be on the panel anyway. So last minute attempt. We have. Oh wait, no, this isn't that yet. So Stewie and Kendall cross paths once the article's dropped. He gives him a grill about the woman dead in the water, cruises, and I'm loving Stewie just coming along and just giving the occasional dig / grill to Kendall every once in a while. That's like his role in the show right now, obviously, other than the opposing force in the proxy war, but gotta respect Stewie. So at lunch, Logan just throws up, and another sign of Logan's declining health here. Seems to me like he's just stressed out and can't really process everything the right way, so it's all coming out at once, and he's down bad. So Rhea knew about the article before it was going to come out as well. Somehow she has sources, of course. She wants Shiv to be on the panel, and right here, that she wants something out of this deal. Rhea you know, bad actor. I don't never really trusted Rhea. There's always some sort of secret dark element to her that I was like, nah, like something's up here. And yeah, we don't really know how she knew this, but she did. So I'm sussing on Rhea. I don't think she's a good actor still. Well, even having watched everything, I know how it plays out. But like, I don't like her. I don't. She seems no. So Shiv now, after talking with Rhea, wants to do the panel, and they are going to pull Roman potentially, but Jerry is giving the signal to Roman like, "No, we can't do that. You're going to be on." And so they agree that all three are going to go out. Good for Jerry for sticking up for Roman. This definitely all splitting into factions now, where it's kind of Logan and Marsha and Rhea versus Roman and Jerry versus Kendall and Shiv. Well, Kendall and Shiv aren't together, but they have their own dynamics playing out. So the drama, the dramatics, I'm here for it. I love it. And so once they're on the panel, they give kind of a shitty performance, especially Kendall and Roman. Well, no, not really. They actually do a pretty good job here. Everyone kind of plays a role, and Nan seems to be enamored with Shiv every time she talks. At least that's something I picked up on. And so Tom and Shiv, after the panel, they make up. She says sorry about Naya. I should have let you sleep with her, but I think she just likes the chase aspect of the idea of Tom out there with other girls, but she doesn't actually like the like when it actually happens, you know. I think she just likes that little chase aspect of, oh, my man's talking to other girls, like that's my man, you know. So after the panel, they are reassessing everything, figuring out what they're gonna do next, and Logan's all pissed off and slaps Roman. Quote, "Don't fuck with me." His tooth comes out, and I think Roman was abused as a child because this doesn't seem like the first time that this happened to him. The good viewers on TV Time pointed out that Kendall jumped in and was like, "Hey, don't touch him." So this makes it seem like something's happened before. And Kendall being a good brother back to Roman, I love that when shit hits the fan, they still ride with each other and they care about each other so much that they jump in against their dad, who's this scary figure in their life. So I like how they're all together on the same page as siblings. But fuck Logan for this shit. Even though I was a Roman hater, and I'm slowly getting respect for him. Don't fucking hit your kid, especially when he's like 30. That's just demeaning and just rude. And I don't need to talk about how it's wrong to hit a kid. Well, not a kid, but hit somebody and assault them. It's like, bro, he's got to get over it. So, ending this episode off, we have the roast basically at the end of the episode of a random host is going to just roast everyone in the crowd. I guess that's something they do at these things. So, of course, Logan and the Roys are one of the first targets about the cruises and the deal they're making with Pierce. They're basically like, yeah, don't do that deal with Pierce. Um, it's not going to end well for you, Pierce. And so Nan storms out. She knows. We come to find out she actually knew that Rhea was working her, and the deal is off because she thinks that Rhea is this secret sleeper agent for the Roys. And yeah, so that's where we leave off episode 6. The deal is done. The cruise stuff's out there and potentially getting worse. And so my favorite of this episode, I think, was Kendall, just by default. It was hard to pick one person this episode, but I like Kendall standing up for his brother, and also standing up for his own values and dealing with everything the way he did, doing what's best for him. So Team Kendall, by default, we give it to Kendall. Least favorite, I'm going Logan. Once again, slapping people. That one on Roman wasn't cool and a bit too brutal. His tooth fell out. Like, you gotta chill, bro. Seems like everything's getting to him a little too much here. So that's where we'll wrap up episode 6. Favorite Kendall, least favorite Logan. So moving on to episode 7, we start this one off with Naomi making an odd request, calling Kendall and requesting a dick pic, quote unquote, for her records. I'm not sure if this is really a normal thing that people do, but we see that Kendall and Naomi are still in contact, and I'm here for it. Seem to be they're both having a good time. So Jerry and Roman are scheming for his potential successor plan / succession plan, and she's going to do a little bit of opposition research on him because there needs to be a successor named at the shareholders meeting that's coming up. That's a big part of the way that things are playing out is they need a shareholder. Obviously, I'm not a shareholder. They need a successor, and that's going to be an essential part of their plan to split off from Stewie's group. And yeah, this will be interesting to see what comes up in the opposition research from Jerry. Obviously, Jerry's very capable, I don't want to worry about her and her resources, so we'll see. I don't know. So this is a big episode about the shareholders. So it turns out that the percentage that the Roys think they have over the Stewie's gang is dropping. Numbers game as always. Yeah, this is tough because it's all in percentages, so it's not like you can't just say one person, one vote. Like certain people have certain percentages. They need to reaffirm things. They need to go and figure out a way to get these shareholders back. So one of the major players in these kind of middle areas, not on one side or the other, is Kendall, Roman, and Shiv's mom. She has a decent percentage. So the plan is to deploy Roman and Kendall to corral their mom back to the cause. And anytime we get to see Caroline back on screen, I'm here for it. She is a decent character, and it's fun to see her interactions with the gang. So was ready to see Caroline back this episode. So as the crew side of things develop, Tom is being pressed by the company. The investigators, they hired like an investigation firm on the outside to look into the cruises. Tom, not doing well under pressure, and this is definitely a sign of what is to come later, but he kind of freaks out. He's like, I need a drink of water. He walks out of the room. Yeah, Tom is not a guy I would trust with all these secrets. Obviously, he's only really involved because of his involvement with Shiv, but if I were to give it someone, I would not give this to Tom. I would pass it off to somebody who can speak for him. Maybe that Sydney girl can do better, but she's not. I guess she wasn't involved with cruises. Yeah, not good, Tom. Shiv needs to give him some lessons about how to handle pressure. So Logan and Roman are in the car, which something I noticed a lot this season is we get these back of the car shots between Logan and the siblings. Like I feel like it happened with every one of the siblings where there was just like a scene of them in the backseat of the car. Anyways, the one with Roman, he tries a roundabout apology. Of course, Logan's never going to say sorry because he's an asshole. About the slap, Roman tries to play it cool. He's like, "Did I get you?" He's like, "Nah, it didn't hurt. You're angry. It's all good." And that's definitely their dynamic. Roman, as we saw in season 1 with the vote, was too scared to speak up against his father. So he's never going to say anything to him one on one, especially. So to be expected, but unfortunate because I want to see some repercussions for Logan in the slap, but we ain't gonna get it. So, Tom, once this investigation hits, goes back to Shiv and's like, "Hey, is your dad gonna be like backing me up and like helping me out here?" And Shiv's like, "Yeah, he will, like whatever," doing her usual bullshit of just like not really caring about what Tom has to say. So Tom in deep water here. This could get really bad for him. We'll see that play out in the last 2 or 3 episodes, especially. But Shiv, come on, man, come on, woman, do better. Let's go. Help your husband out here. Just at least be like, yeah, he got you. Like the least you can do for the man. You said you were gonna like get him a. It's just like, I'm over it. So, Logan and Rhea have gotten a lot closer. Rhea is advising him now about the successor. So she gives a brief breakdown on the 3 siblings that are really in the running. Obviously, Connor's not really in the running, and I think this could be something to keep in mind for the latter half of the seasons. I gotta keep remembering this. So she says Roman's not ready. Kendall will shit himself, and Shiv thinks she's smarter than she is. So, which of those is the worst? Which of those is the best? I don't know. Definitely not Kendall because they think he's gonna shit himself. So it's probably between Roman and Shiv. If you're able to humble, maybe you know what? I think it is Shiv because maybe if you are able to humble Shiv, that's the easiest thing because it's hard to get Roman ready when he's like 30. It's hard to get Kendall to not shit himself if he's just gonna shit himself, and maybe you gotta just humble Shiv by not giving her the info. So actually, we've seen all this kind of play out where Roman being quote unquote not ready, he's taking management courses, he's getting his feet under him, he's been given smaller roles to do to work himself up. Kendall shitting himself. He's on Logan's hip this whole season, basically learning how to do everything his way and how to handle himself publicly. And then Shiv thinking she's smarter than she is. Logan purposely doesn't tell her things so she doesn't like chime in and be as smart as she is. So good Rhea analysis there. I think that actually when I wrote this down, I was like, this is going to matter later on, and I think that's a really good assessment. So good job, Rhea. And moving back to Tom and the crew situation, so him and Greg have a disagreement about the documents. Tom threatens him. Of course, Greg still has the documents. Tom now it's like, hey, we gotta really get rid of those because this could actually end up being bad. So Tom threatens him. He says he's gonna quote unquote break your legs. Obviously, Tom thinks he's the dominant one in this dynamic, but our boy Greg's got something. So we'll catch up with that in a second. But Tom has to constantly overplay his hand with Greg because in his relationship he feels like he's the one that's being played. Shout out to that person who commented in my last video, provided a great insight to that. So yeah, I'm seeing this vision now at Tom. Come on, bro. Don't take it out on Greg. Well, in this situation, it's like he's got the documents, so career stuff, more understandable. So Rhea and Logan, as I mentioned, are getting a lot closer. She's gonna stay the night with him. So what does that mean? We know what it means. They're banging. I'm not sure how old Rhea is, but Logan seems to be sizably older. But I know the older you get, that doesn't really matter. So interested to see how that plays out. Logan and the CEO, potential next CEO, mingling. I don't know. Don't mix business and pleasure, maybe. But obviously, the whole fucking family is the company. So what do I know? So the story has finally come out about the waiter at Shiv's wedding. Obviously, the one who Kendall was riding with, and tragically, the waiter passed away, and then Kendall got out, but is basically under Logan's thumb for this now. And they're blaming Logan for the death because he yelled at the waiter, and that's the reason why he got kicked out of the wedding and was like smoking weed in the back because he had nothing to do because Logan kicked him out for like a brief statement after Logan got pressed by Kendall and Stewie for the proxy war and whatever. Not gonna rehash the whole season one, but the story has just come out now in the tabloids. So their plan is to send in Logan, talk with the family, get a statement. Not sure how that was gonna go, but went a lot better than I expected, honestly, later on. But anyways, so Naomi pulls up to the place where the Roys are staying, and awkward dynamic with Logan here. Shocker, Logan doesn't want his kids to be happy, so get him out, get her out. But she's gonna stay for now, and just Logan, come on, dude. Like Kendall has so much in his life that's bringing him down, and Naomi brings him happiness. Like this, he doesn't want to see Kendall happy. It's fucking awful, and I'll harp on this again in a couple episodes, but not loving it. So Kendall is worried about Rhea and Logan's dynamic. She could be playing him, she says. Obviously, Shiv is very worried about this as well in the next couple episodes, but Kendall clocked it first. Yeah, I would be worried as well. I just said the same thing, Kendall, so I agree with you. Logan wants Kendall to come down to visit the boys' family with him. It's like, bro, like Kendall's been through so much, and you see this fucking like awful shit that, it's like I feel terrible for him. He's banging his head on the top of the tower in this season. It's just like this season was so depressing for Kendall, and that's why at the end of it I was pretty happy. But we'll get to that when I get to that. But it's like, come on, bro. You're gonna make him come down with you? Like, why does he need to come with you at all? And he doesn't, like, when he comes down, he just sits in the other room. It's like, bro, like this manipulation is crazy by Logan. Fucking hell, man. So Tom is back with Greg, finding the documents, and Greg just put secret on them, and that's how he was hiding them. Good job, Greg. No one would ever look at that if it was secret. Obviously, if it's secret, everyone's gonna look at it, but it's Greg, so it's like whatever. So Shiv and Rhea meet, and Rhea's kind of asking around, and Shiv's like, so you want to know what it's like to be in my dad's family because you're banging him? And Rhea's like, yeah. And so Rhea's like, Pierce is looking for a new CEO. I think you'd be a good position. I could front your name. Trap, it's a trap. But Shiv's like, maybe. Because she's been left behind on all this shit. Shiv's story, she's got to know everything. So trap set by Rhea, bait taken. So now Kendall, not only does he have to come on the trip, he's in the car, he's like, you go and do your thing, Dad. But Logan's like, you should come in. Just sit in the house and look at the old pictures of the guy you killed. Like, god damn, Logan. So Kendall's now has to go into the house. Fucking jarring experience for Kendall. Once again, feel bad for him. But at the same time, you don't need coke that badly. So there is a little part of me that's like, you know what, you get what you deserve, and you should pay for what you've done. But it is Kendall, and I'm Team Kendall, so we'll skip past that part. So Roman and Shiv make the visit to mom. They haven't stayed over in the last 10 years, which I found pretty shocking. I'm not sure if they just liked their dad better or he's more controlling in the situation. It seems like he is. And, well, she also lives in Europe, so I guess it's harder to visit, but this is the first time they're staying over in 10 years. So we get to see Caroline do a little bit of scheming. She wants either the summer palace or she gets Christmas with the family. That's her offer. She doesn't really care about money. Well, she does that in like 50 million and just completely gets Roman on what he wanted and just calls him out immediately and clocks him. But yeah, to be expected. So Caroline playing the game, respect. So after everything's all said and done at the house, Kendall makes a return later and puts money through their mail slot. Just another heartbreaking scene, tough to watch. And Kendall's going to return to Caroline's place and be like, "Hey, can I talk to you about something, Mom?" And she's like, "Nah, let's do it in the morning." And Logan also didn't want to talk about it, so Kendall's got neither of his parents ready to talk to him about serious shit. Like, I get it, he's older and grown up, but like he needs somebody in his life to support him, and maybe he'll find. I think my prediction is he'll talk to it about either with Kendall or Roman. Not well, he is Kendall, Shiv or Roman. My guess would be Shiv because Roman is a piece of shit sometimes to him. So I think that he's gonna have to talk about it at some point, and I think it's gonna be Shiv because we saw that one in I think it was Safe Room when they were talking after, and he's like really wanted to tell her but didn't. So while Tom is finding a lighter to light, well, they're on the balcony. Tom's lighting all the documents on fire. Lighter doesn't work. Tom goes inside to grab a lighter. He also wouldn't leave Greg's side the whole day. Greg grabs a little couple papers, puts them in the sock. Let's go, Greg, Team Greg. I mean, this man's smart as fuck. I wouldn't have thought to done that. Well, maybe I would have thought to done that, but he's always scheming. He's looking out for himself. So good for Greg. So Logan, news gets back to him. Probably Ray just fucking told him right away about Shiv taking the Pierce deal, but he says to her, "We're a family, and if you don't understand that, then fuck off." His classic fuck off line, and he's upset with her now because she was considering the Pierce deal, but the whole reason why she was doing that is because you weren't giving her information. She didn't fill in the loop, and whatever. So I guess that's something. I don't know. Little beef here between Shiv and Logan that'll last like an episode or two. So Caroline, in the morning, was supposed to talk with Kendall, but guess what? Caroline's gone, left tea on the pot, which this was I mean, I understood the scene because it was like, okay, she wants to like be gone and not talk to Kendall, but it was also like, you haven't stayed over in 10 years, you can't stay for a couple hours to talk to your kids. Caroline, come on. So Rhea schemed the whole thing with Shiv anyways. She figures it out, calls Kendall. She says, "I think I got fucked." And that's where we leave off with episode 7. So, favorite of this episode, I'm giving it to Kendall once again. Went through a lot this episode, and I felt for him. He tried to do the right thing by the family by leaving money in the mail slot and tried to say something. Logan just manipulated the shit out of him. Least favorite, I'm going to go with Logan manipulating Kendall and making him rehash his terrible memories and how he killed this kid when he seemed to be doing a lot better with it. He also schemed on Shiv with Rhea, so Kendall, fuck you again. Least favorite. Moving on, we had episode 8, Dundee. And this one starts out, and for a second I thought Willow was actually pregnant with Connor's baby, but nope, it's just Willow's play. We're good. She had a baby in the play, I believe, so boy, that would have been a little something for sure, but rest assured it's just a play. So this is a coronation of Logan's 50 years of service with the company, and we start with Roman with Logan. I hope I just said 50 years, not Roman. Roman's going to do a voiceover for Logan at the dinner. He doesn't care. It's soulless. Just a very blah voiceover, but obviously there's still a little bit of ill feelings between Roman and Logan after the debacle with the slap and everything. So don't blame Roman for not really giving it his true effort here. But something to note for sure. So Shiv, this is a big Shiv episode. She's trying to plan around Rhea and Logan banging. She thinks she got fucked by Rhea, so she's not really vibing with Rhea. She's trying to take down Rhea this whole episode. And we come to find out that Logan's actually doing this dinner in Scotland because Rhea wants him to. So that's the only reason why. Obviously, Logan's not a very big party guy, very big celebration guy. He is only doing this because Rhea wants him to, and he thinks it's gonna be a small thing, but it's not. So we'll see that play out later. But yeah, Logan's really only doing things because Rhea wants him to. Sus, maybe. Don't do that. I don't know. What about Marcia? Queen. Come on. So essentially, the crew situation has continued to develop. A former accounting employee is ready to talk, and yeah, it seems like they NDA bombed this thing, but it didn't really work, and there's still people that can talk. So, former accounting employee is set to take the stage and let this thing loose. So, this is all, of course, has to happen during the party. It seems like every time there's a big celebration in the Roy family, something has to go down. And so Shiv tries to put a feeler out with Marcia to take her side against Rhea, but it doesn't really work. Marcia, I think, is either blind to the situation or just actively not seeing the thing with Rhea. I think it's blind to the situation. I think she knows that Rhea is sleeping with Logan and Logan sleeps with other people, but she needs to be the most important. I don't know. Weird dynamic. Weird relationship dynamics in this family. Like, who has the most normal relationship? Logan and Marcia, open relationship. Shiv and Tom, open relationship. Kendall divorced from his wife. Roman is only dating Tabitha because she slept with Tom on the honeymoon to hold it over Shiv. They don't sleep together. Who else even is there? Connor and Willa. Willa's like a prostitute. I mean, Connor and Willa might be the best relationship, but it seems like she's only using it for money. It's really like slim pickings here, man. I don't know. I just realized that just talking it through. So this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Roman goes to Jerry, should we get married? And I think there was some serious sentiment behind this. Jerry's obviously like, what are you talking about? I think that this could end up as a couple later on. Roman's been stringing Tabitha along this whole season basically, and I don't even know where that ended. I don't think it did end yet. So it's still technically dating Tabitha going into season 3, but I would not be surprised if Roman and Jerry get involved romantically somehow, as they kind of already were in the first half of this season. So Kendall falls in love with this actress girl. She's gonna fly her out to Dundee. He met her at Willa's play when they were all together. So obviously Kendall, with big amount of money, kind of simps here and just flies her out. Yeah, we see that play out later on in this episode as well. So Marcia and Logan go down to meet Rhea, and while Logan, of course, dips for like half a second, Marcia presses her about being tested for sexually transmitted diseases, so she knows that they're sleeping together. Question answered, and wow, yeah, Marcia really puts the clause in and is like, do you have any like STDs? I need to know. And Rhea's like, no, I don't think I do. Awkward interaction for sure. So moving on to another scheme against Rhea, Shiv wants Tom to flirt with her, and she wants her to do this to fuck with Logan and also screw up Rhea's thing with the family, dynamic with the family. Tom's like, bro, come on, you wouldn't let me go with Naya, but now I gotta go with Rhea. Like, hell no. And I don't think this ends up even happening. Maybe it does. There's like a slight scene, but so instead of that, Shiv deploys another plan with Kendall. They're going to use the name Rose, which I guess is a trigger for Logan, and this fucks up Rhea's toast, where she has everyone going happy, and then brings up Rose, and everything just goes downhill. So, point for Kendall and Shiv there. And then, once again, Shiv screws with Rhea by saying she doesn't drink. And it's true, Rhea's like been sipping but not drinking. She's like, I sip. Rhea, this episode was really bad. It was like, I sip. Like, what are you talking about? Rhea, I said it a couple episodes ago, sus vibes. And yeah, that just continued this episode. So Jerry clues in Shiv about the deal with the whistleblower. Since no one was telling Shiv, basically double it. They tried to double the money that they're going to give him because he said no. and that's their plan moving forward. Obviously, this is going to de-escalate worse and worse, but that's their plan for now. But Shiv's all clued in; she's in the know now, and Jerry especially wants to talk to Shiv instead of anybody else because Logan's obviously dealing with the party. But interesting that she chose Shiv to talk to over everyone, not Kendall or Roman. So point for Shiv there as well. So Rhea tells Kendall that it's always been him, and it will be when they're on the other side of it. Manipulating by Rhea, but pretty hollow because Kendall doesn't really believe this, but he's like, okay, nice. So we get an awesome Ewan appearance in this episode. He tells Greg Logan is worse than Hitler, and he also tells Greg to stop working for him. He will take away his inheritance money if Greg continues to work for the Waystar Royco and Logan. So Greg's got to make a choice here: money or inheritance money. Potential money working with Logan, or inheritance money, which is the inheritance money is fine, but we'll talk about that in a second. So Kendall keeps Jennifer, that's the actress girl, from going back. Connor was like, hey, you got to send her back. Willa needs her for the play. Like, she's got a play tonight. And Kendall's like, nah, we're not going to do that. Obviously, Connor is the least powerful in the family. So we see that play out here where Connor is just kind of like, whatever, dude. Like, I tried. And he's got to go back to Willow with bad news, empty-handed. So the brothers all take the side of Rhea, actually, against Shiv. They decide that, you know what, maybe Rhea would be decent here, better than any of us probably. And Shiv, who's not happy, even Tom's like, you know what, I think Rhea would be a decent play here. But Shiv's not seeing the vision quite yet. She's all upset with everybody that they're disagreeing with her. So while Jennifer and Kendall are on their little date through the party, Jennifer calls him out for talking about his dad way too much, and yeah, this is bad. It seems like Kendall just has a habit of talking about Logan way too much, but when a bad habit of yours is always brought out to you, it doesn't play well. So Kendall, of course, is not very happy about this and sends her home right away, or not right away, but after. But I think this is the spark that set it through. So I don't know, weird dynamic where Kendall doesn't want people talking about his dad, but then he talks about him, and then odd. I don't know. So Logan has a heart-to-heart with Shiv about Rhea's involvement. They call a truce, and he's like, is she really the right one? I don't know. Like, I need you to decide. Basically leaving it in Shiv's hands. Another point for Shiv. Obviously, she's the one for this job. And then Greg is attempting to quit to Logan in the bathroom. He says, I'm pulling a little bit of a Gregxit. Classic Greg. Nice line. Logan strikes back. Do you want to be with Uncle Fun or Grandpa Grumps? Good point, Logan. Probably had a lot more fun working with Logan than just doing nothing and having inheritance money. So the whistleblower once again denies the double deal this time, and has a negotiation to go on TV, which we'll see in the next episode. So Shiv calls off telling Logan about the whistleblower because he still doesn't know, because Jerry only told him, and she now realizes that it's probably in her better interest to fuck over Rhea by leaving her as the lame duck in here to deal with the whistleblower situation rather than herself and get somebody else in for Rhea. So she's going to fuck Rhea by just leaving her in there. So smart Shiv, awesome prime Shiv here in this episode. And so Kendall at the dinner breaks out a rap, which was probably the funniest scene of the whole season. Can't make this up. I was shocked. Obviously, we saw Kendall listen to rap a couple times before this, but we didn't know he was actually a SoundCloud rapper. Breaks out the song for Logan. So awesome scene here. Funny. Loved it. And Roman and Edward, I think they met again this episode. Didn't find anything notable enough to write down, but besides this, they buy a team for Logan, a soccer team, as a gift for him, but it turns out they bought the wrong team. Roman doesn't even know what team his dad roots for. Obviously, Roman's not the biggest sports guy in the world, but come on, bro, you could have at least thrown a fake question out there, done a little check, done a little homework, but they bought the wrong team. Come on, bro. So Logan, at his sort of acceptance speech / celebration speech, announces that Rhea will be CEO. Congratulations to Rhea. You walk into a shitstorm, but I don't know. I didn't think that this was happening when it 2 episodes ago. I couldn't see the writing on the wall, I guess, for some reason. But so this was all kind of new to me. So, but congrats, Rhea, you're CEO. Kendall, as mentioned before, ditches Jennifer, get her on the first flight out. Not really sure what happened there besides the comment. I think it was the comment about the dad, and he has such a complicated relationship with his father that maybe that was just an odd thing for her to say, and he didn't like it that much. Well, clearly he didn't like it that much. He sent her home, but besides that, there wasn't really any signs that it was going to head this way. Obviously, he seemed head over heels for her, so still don't really know what happened there, but guessing it has something to do with that comment and Kendall feeling insecure about his relationship with his father. So Marsha and Logan duke it out. Marsha says, "You're boring me." I'm actually on her side for once. He's being all poor me, and she's like, "You know what? Like, talk to me and like let's have a relationship." I don't know. It's Team Marsha here. What do you guys think? And then finally, we get Ewan versus Logan again. Ewan says that Logan's running an empire of shit, and it's going to be time for him to pay up. And Logan accepts the plaque to end it out. So he has a falling out with his brother and his basically wife, I think, love interest at least, to end the episode, and then goes and accepts the plaque. So we leave in the kind of state of turmoil for Logan. So my favorite of this episode was Shiv. She acted well under pressure. She ends up getting what she wants and fucks Ray over. And her suggestions throughout the episode about what to do to get to Rhea were funny, and she also got Rhea like 2 or 3 times. Give it a 10-9 round to Shiv. Least favorite was Rhea. She was clearly in this episode just doing way too much, and I think she's got some sort of agenda. I didn't like her actions this episode. They felt slimy and like suck uppy, and I don't know. I didn't like it. So that's where we leave episode 8. Favorite Rhea. Favorite Shiv. Least favorite Rhea. On to episode 9, titled DC. So this episode begins with all the guys watching the whistleblower. They got popcorn. It's movie night. Ready to see what he has to say. They all boo him, make fun of him. They think he's going to get a book deal after. So obviously not fans of the whistleblower talking on the news, it looks like, kind of like a 60 Minutes format. So of course we need to strategize after that. So Jerry, her plan is to blame it all on Mo, Bill, and the whistleblower, or I should say Lester, not Mo, sorry. Funny one there. So yeah, they think giving them Lester, who's deceased now, Bill, and also the whistleblower will be good enough. They can clear out after that. So they say we like Bill, but not enough to not blame him for this. Bill's got to go under. As we saw in season 1, Bill, everyone was cheering when he left the office. Bill, Bill, Bill. But he's going under for this. So Greg has made his decision about continuing to work for the Roys or walking out and getting his inheritance money from Ewan. He says he's turning down $250 million, and then Connor and Tom don't bat an eye at that number. They're like, that's really not a lot of money, which I guess they kind of have a point, but if you have $1 million, like, you're set for life, I think that's the magic number. Could be wrong. But just an absurd amount of money from Greg, and I feel like there's no way he gets more than that working as, I mean, I guess if he really starts to move high up the ranks, but I doubt it. Like, 250 mil? That's like, I mean, I guess it's all relative. I don't know how much the Roys make, but that seems like a really lot of money. So hopefully Greg gets promoted in these last 2 seasons a couple times so he can earn that money back. So re-enter Gil into the season. He's still a senator in D.C. He's going to call for hearings about the cruise line. And yeah, so that's basically this whole episode. But thought we were done with Gil and thought we were done with Nate, but nope, they're still here in this episode. Yeah, and so Hugo, who I haven't mentioned so far, but is a decent part of the season, he wants Tom and Jerry to speak because on the little news piece the whistleblower did on the TV, they were 2 of the 3 or 4 parties mentioned. And yeah, I don't know about this. Jerry, I think, could handle it and could do very well. But Tom, as we see, is don't know about that choice, but it makes sense because he's now like he was the head of that before he went to ATN. So I guess logical choices from Hugo, and I like Hugo so far. He's kind of just like a comedic relief / side character that just like adds a lot of funny context in the movie. So I'm appreciating Hugo so far. Logan, he's feeling worried again, so he wants Roman to go talk to Edward to secure the deal to get the money to take them private. So Roman's gonna fly out to Edouard, which I don't know where he is. I already said that, but he's on his way with Carl and another guy who I'm forgetting his name to go to Edouard to persuade him to take his company private to get out of the proxy war and finish the situation. So, flash to Rhea. She, of course, is not happy with the current situation. She sees the writing on the wall. Um, yeah, it's not going to go well. She's voicing her frustration to Logan. Was she set up for a trap? Obviously, she was. Shiv set it up. She's done for, but she shows a brave face when she pulls up on the gang. I don't know if that's at the beginning of this episode or at the end, but she is like, hey, I know what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. Gives a little speech to the boys and girls and pretends to be okay with it. So Roman visits Edouard. They're at the soccer meeting, or soccer team practice. And then Edouard pretty easily agrees to set up a meeting between him and his dad to go private. Obviously, he's the son of like oil guy, I'm assuming, or somebody who's invested a lot in money and has a ton of money. So he's like the speaker because his dad doesn't go out much, it seems like. So he agrees for his dad, and they're going to listen to Roman's pitch. Side note, Roman gives a fucking shitty ass speech to the soccer team, just awful. Would not motivate me to do anything. Obviously, Roman's never played sports in his life. As I mentioned before, it's blatantly obvious in the scene. Just, yeah. You bought the wrong team, just stay away, I would assume, for the near future, and maybe forever. So, everyone arrives in DC for the hearings, and who do they see there but Bill? He's like Magic retired, but he's still a Laker. You got to support the boys, so Bill's going to be in the crowd when they potentially are just going to slam dunk on him and kill him, as they say in the show a lot. And we'll see how that goes for Bill in the crowd. Bill's, probably never going to see Bill again, but it's good to see him back for season 2. So Tom is very nervous before the hearings, as he should be. He already tweaked out on the first one with the PR firm that was supposed to give softballs and did pretty much, and he was already tweeting about that. So obviously he's going to be very nervous before he's in front of a grand council or whatever at the DC hearings. And we see that play out in his performance. So this whole thing with back to Roman, these random security people break into his meeting with Roman. They take his phones, his security guy, and they must go with Edouard and the gang down to the lobby. This is a whole dilemma that happens this episode. Back to Tom, Gil mentions they have emails on Tom calling Lester Mo, not to him, like 30 times in an email. Tom is just not doing great on the podium. He basically tries to lie about everything, then tries to backtrack through his lies. And yeah, just a blatantly bad performance from Tom. And he gets grilled for it later. Gil wins round 1 here. So I thought back to Roman, I thought there was some sort of hostile takeover going on at Edouard's hotel they're meeting at. It was kind of hard to tell what's going on. I think there's like some sort of flash of terrorism or whatever, but it's playing on the fact that Roman's rich and probably doesn't have to deal with any of these issues in his day-to-day life. And as American nationals in a foreign country, not every country's big fans of Americans, believe it or not. So this was pretty easy to believe that something was going to go down here and there's some sort of situation occurring. And it was hard to really tell what was going on because, credit to Roman, he didn't really freak out that much, but there was like a slight chance that they would just like get executed or some shit. I don't know. Just a weird situation going on this whole episode with that. So they all back to DC. We find out they also have Greg signing out the boxes. So Greg is now implicated in this. He signed out all those boxes on Thanksgiving. They have his in the record, which I don't know if Greg could have used a fake name. I don't remember that scene specifically, but I feel like he could have done a better job covering up those tracks. And it's weird. They are pointing out the irregularities in the records that there's like a whole period missing, but then Jerry kind of gives a good answer. It's like, that's procedure and blah, blah, blah. So Jerry saves Tom a little bit. Greg now implicated. Some drama added on here. So Tom also, they get him for threatening Greg and using the people as a step stool or as a footrest, which I thought that was a weird scene, but I guess that's where they pay it off here, is that implication. So one of the email they quote is, "You can't make a Tomlet without breaking some Gregs." Funny threat to Greg through Tom's email that they have. And yeah, don't like it's so weird to me that like I work in an office, and it's so weird to me that people just like email this freely. Obviously, it's like the Royce, they're all fucked up and like whatever. But I would never like email stuff like this. I don't know. It just seems odd. And it happens, I guess, in shows, and people get canceled for HR and whatever. But I don't know. I would never like threaten over email, especially if Greg's like sitting right next to you. Like you can't just say that to him. But whatever. So, re-entrance of Nate. Shiv is sent off to find out who this second whistleblower that they now apparently have. She tries to make her move on Gil and Nate, but they don't go for it. Um, they say that they have a victim to kill them later in the week, but Shiv actually is able to reveal it and figure it out who it is, how bad it is, the depth of the situation, and she's going to go meet her later. So Connor, seems like Connor just is here for a random scene and a cup of coffee, then he dips. But turns out he actually has supporters in Washington, which is a good sign. They tell him he's fighting the good fight. They're now conheads. That's what everyone calls him, or calls the fans of Connor call themselves conheads. So Connor for president, I'm here for it. You know, add some drama. The forgotten sibling becomes president. I doubt it will happen, but him actually having supporters so far, not a bad sign. So tip of the cap to Connor. Congratulations, bro. We'll see how this campaign evolves over the last 2 seasons. So Roman ends up getting the deal, working with Edward while hostage at the hotel. He's in the lobby, just like spewing to him, like, "Listen, I know we're like fucked up here and blah blah blah, but we got to get this deal done." And credit to Roman, man. As I continue to say, his development in the season was awesome. I'm Team Roman as well now. I'm Team Roman. I'm Team Kendall. I'm Team Shiv. Team Connor. I don't know, but I'm liking all the siblings so far. I'm anti-Team Logan. I feel like he's too indecisive and just a dickhead sometimes, but let that be that. So, deal's working on. So, back to DC. Kendall does an awesome job zinging back Gale with his answers. This is a Roy round, so it's 1-1 after my count, 1919 UFC style. Even fight because Kendall wins round 2. Jerry's takedown wasn't enough to take back Tom's getting jabbed a million times and significant strike. Inside UFC reference, if no one knows that, just skip that part. So, yeah, Kendall is making the news. He's like, he'll probably be on TikTok a million times if this was present day, and everyone being like, look at him roast the person, the senator. Like, people love that shit, so they eat that up. The Roys win that, and Shiv makes sure that the next person to speak, she meets her in a park, doesn't want to scare her away, and I think Shiv does a really good job here of both balancing like her angle and honesty. Like she keeps it real with her. Like, hey, listen, like if you were to speak out, what would you even do? Like you get a book deal, and then what? Like, you know, we could ruin your life. And the chick seems pretty receptive to it. Obviously, she doesn't end up speaking. She drops out due to personal reasons, so that's a Shiv win. Point for Shiv. I feel like I've said that a million times. Shiv has done an awesome job this season of moving herself up, proving her worth, and the scene is just part of it. Great job, Shiv. So, come back to Rhea. She's out. That was fast. And as Logan says, she's fungible. Replacement time. So, obviously, we have a lot to figure out with that. Yeah, good for Rhea. Get out of there. Seems like she's kind of like caught up in these families. Like, maybe just go start somewhere new, get a new job, you know, go figure something out, become a tech CEO, and just get out of these two families. I mean, family businessman is no place to be, and Rhea found that out through Nan, double crossing Nan, which was stupid, but then also being involved with Shiv and trying to fuck her over. She gets re-fucked over by Shiv. It's a whole thing. So Rhea, go find a new job. Not sure if she'll appear again. I doubt she will, but I wouldn't be surprised. So we'll see where Rhea's story goes from here. Finally, Logan has, at the end of the episode, has decided that killing off Bill and Lester and the whistleblower isn't enough, which I was confused by this because it seemed like Kendall had done well in the DC hearings, but I guess with the proxy battle, with the shareholders meeting, you need more definitive answer. Logan says we need something big. Time for a blood sacrifice. So one of these siblings most likely are going down. Could potentially be Tom, could potentially be somebody big, but somebody big's going down, so great way for them to set up the last episode and end this one out. So As always, I'll give my favorite and least favorite of this episode. So favorite, I'm gonna give to Kendall. Close second, we'll go to Shiv. But as a Team Kendall fan, I gotta go with my boy here. He owned the reporters. He put in that work, always doing what's best for the company. Company man, Team Kendall. Favorite again, common favorite during this latter half of season 2. Least favorite, I'm gonna go Tom. Choked in front of the council, attacking Greg again. And then his bad actions in the past of with the footrest and threatening emails to Greg, coming up back here again, screwing them over in court. It's mentioned in the next episode he does a terrible job. So least favorite goes to Tom, favorite to Kendall. And now we get to our finale. And our last episode, episode 10 of season 2, This Is Not for Tears. So opening this one up, we have Greg on the stand now, and he's only answering questions in passive voice. I was geeking during this. Greg always bringing that comedy. Good to see Greg in prime form, even in front of a bunch of U.S. senators, and possibly like risking things going on with his life that could be bad, but he's still going to be talking in passive voice, so no worries there. So Logan is driving on the street, and he gets a call from Philippe, which I don't know why they FaceTime. It's really awkward FaceTime. Philippe's like sitting back here, like, Logan, like, pull up, bro. First, you can just call him. Like, you don't need to FaceTime. It was a weird FaceTime. But he's like, listen, I think you need to be the one to take the brunt. Like, this isn't going to be good enough. What you're giving me, like, not Tom, Bill, Lester, whistleblower, not good enough. We're going to need something bigger. I think you should go down. And Logan's like, you know what? You could be right. And he considers this idea. So, whole family's going on a little trip on a boat, get away from everything for a couple of days before everything goes down between the shareholders meeting and the hearings. So Tom and Shiv have arranged a little special something. They're going to have a threesome with a worker, and they have it all figured out. I was skeptical. I was like, what? But I guess that's something they're going to do. Funny scenes from Tom trying to figure out who the worker is throughout this episode, but it all boils down later. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So this freaking ship that they're on is insane, bro. This is like a super yacht, crazy ship. I want to go on that for a couple of days. You know, first of all, they fit like 20 people on that ship. Just they like interior. They have a nice table, jet ski attached to. It's crazy. Pool, hot tub. Wow. Yeah, and Greg, everyone's got to take their shoes off. That's the one rule, but Greg's hesitant to do it. I thought maybe he was keeping the documents in his shoes, but I was wrong. I guess he just has like fungus or some shit. So Connor and Willa are, of course, on this family vacation as well. Willa is scared to open the news because she thinks that her play potentially bombed, and she just wants to deactivate phones, be away for a while. And I love that too. Cruise ships. Although this year when I was on the cruise, I had text messages, but being able to disconnect for a while, that's good. But Connor, of course, has to open his tablet. He has become a meme through his presidential campaign, so he's funny about that. And then Willa's like, hey, why don't you read the reviews while you're at it? Like, okay, I can't wait. Yeah, the play did horrible. You bombed badly. And there goes the tablet. Willa throws that. Feel bad for her. Maybe the one pure character besides Greg in this. Still hoping for Greg and Willa to get together somehow. Don't think it's going to happen, though, but poor Willa. Her play did not go well. So Roman makes his way back from Asia on a little private boat. Everyone makes fun of him, but then he gets pissed, and everyone's like, all right, maybe we shouldn't have been a dick to you. It's just, like, annoying how that is, I guess that's not natural human nature, is just, like, being a dick to somebody when they come out of it. Like, the bro could have died, could have got killed, and he's, like, been on a probably nonstop traveling, comes back to his family, like, finally safe, and they're all just grilling him about, like, his situation. So I was on Roman's side here, like, give him a break, like, let him get a fucking drink, let him chill out a bit, then you can joke a bit, but, like, not when it gets there, like, at least hug him or something. I don't know. People are just wolves waiting for the moment to strike. Yeah. So Shiv and Roman compliment Kendall on his performance, and this was a top scene for me. Genuine moment. Even Kendall doesn't believe that they're being nice to him, but they change for the better. seems like they want to, be on the same page about things and be in good spirits with each other and be nice and positive, and I'm all for that. Some of my favorite moments of the show, just because it's so rare, is when the siblings stand up for each other. Especially Kendall and Roman seem to have each other's back really a lot. Shiv also has Kendall's back a lot. Shiv and Roman are kind of meh, but good. I love these scenes between the siblings when they're being genuine and caring for each other. It's just a nice contrast to what we usually see when they're all trying to take each other's throat out. So obviously, like that scene. So Roman and Kendall are wondering why is Greg here, and I'm wondering the same thing. Like, I guess it's like an extension of the family. He just gets invited to everything, or he just knows everything that's going on. I don't know if he's invited or if he shows up. I know Logan does like him. He mentioned that in the bathroom when he was about to quit. But is Greg really good enough to come on this trip? Like, I don't know. I guess Jerry and all them are there. So I mean, but Greg's like an assistant. So it's like, what do we do? I don't know. I was wondering the same thing, kind of, once they brought it up. So, what is Greg doing here? But he's obviously providing us comedic relief and being a boss. So, that's your answer. So, Logan gets off the helicopter. He's the last one to show up. He immediately wants to talk shop with Roman and his crew about what happened overseas. Doesn't stop and say hi, doesn't hug anyone, doesn't talk about anything. Just, yeah, gotta go talk. So, turns out Edouard's gang was flaky, and Roman thinks it was probably horseshit. They're going to move off it. One of the guys disagrees and gets mad at Roman, but credits Roman for being truthful and not just trying to blow smoke up Logan's ass. I think this is even more signifying the changes that Roman's undergone this season, where he's being honest and not trying to like for example with the shuttle launch, you had him kind of just being bullish, like bullshit on it, and being way too positive about it when it was probably like a pretty cause for concern, especially since he didn't know a lot was going on. So it's good to see him now like be really locked in and be like ready to analyze the situation. And he's like, yeah, this probably isn't gonna work. There's something in my gut. I think it's horseshit. And then Logan's like, you know what? I agree with you, Romulus. I don't think he says Romulus, but I love how he calls him that. They're gonna move off it. So no deal for Edouard. And Jamie is the guy. He says he walks out on them. He gives them the truth. He says someone's gonna go down for all this. It's not gonna be him though, because he takes the private boat out. He's out of there, and so everyone's kind of chilling out in the boat. Connor gets to talk with Logan. He requests that Logan gives him positive reviews on the play from one of their news stations. They're gonna manipulate that, and 100 mil from Logan. Funny scene here. Logan and Connor's interactions always seem to be funny and have some sort of weird camaraderie. Logan calls his campaign a horseshit pipe dream, which great quote from Logan. Not sure if I agree though. Campaign's kind of moving heat, so I'm sure he'll never be president. But he is picking up supporters in DC. He became a meme, in whatever year this was. I always keep forgetting to look when this came out. Still today, that rings true. Being a meme sometimes more powerful than anything you could possibly do politically. So I don't know. Horseshit pipe dream, maybe a stretch, but good quote, funny quote. I half agree. So this is when the drama starts, and this is when I clocked in. For those of you who know me, I love drama. So everyone starts having side conversations with each other about who we are going to flip it on, put everything on because they need a big kill. And I recorded everything. Well, this isn't even the part that I'm talking about, but the guessing starts, and Roman, of course, will be the one to tip it off. He pins Frank, does a joke. This is like before they all get together and meet together. Hope it's not Frank. Well, I know what it's going to be, so thank God it's not Frank. But Roman still does not have any love for Frank after all of his development. Still a rivalry there. So funny scene there. And Logan, it's like, bro, the manipulation continues. So he takes issues with Naomi being there, which is an understandable problem because she works for Pierce, or she's with the Pierce family still. They're still rivals, but it's like Kendall's like she'll sit, like she doesn't have to be in on business meetings. Like she can go away, she can do her own thing for a bit. And Logan insinuates that she leaves, and then when Kendall has to send her out later, it's like he's surprised that it's like, bro, come on. So Logan again wants his his son to not be happy, manipulating him by taking away the girl that he likes. Shocker. Come on, Logan. So before the magical threesome occurs, Tom declares that he can't go with the other girl. He might have stage fright. He wants to turn the threesome into a twosome. Classic bra moment. when you're in a relationship and your wife or girlfriend asks you to do a threesome and you say no, what are we doing, Tom? I don't understand what his big thing is here. He explains some of it later, but might as well try it out. I don't think like another girl being like he just wants it to be like him and Shiv are doing it while the girl watches, and it's like he's like, have we put her in the bathroom and she like watches through like it's like what? I don't know. This was a weird scene and I didn't understand what was going on at the moment, and this is like downgrade for Tom because like isn't this like every person's dream to have a threesome? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can explain that to me in the comments. So Naomi's leaving, and she's upset, obviously, that she has to leave this vacation, leave Kendall. And she says to him, he loves the broken you, which is true. Every time Kendall gets back up, Logan beats him down, as evidenced in episode 8, with him going back to the family house, making him go inside and relive that. And now this girl, he shits on the other girl, the actress. He kicks out Naomi, and when it's clear that her and Kendall have really good chemistry, so it's true. Logan is a master manipulator. He only likes Kendall when he's down because he's easy to control and manipulate. So, fuck you. Felt bad for Kendall again. Poor Kendall. It's my boy. So, the conversation finally begins on who's going to take the brunt for everything. Logan volunteers, but everyone's like, no, you can't do that. We need you. So, here's the breakdown. I wrote down as much as I could. So, Jerry, Kendall says no. Frank, Jerry says no. And then Carl and Connor bring up Jerry. Roman shifts it to Tom. Kendall backs up with Carl. Shiv is in on it now for Tom. Kendall, Carl, and Shiv are all in it. Tom shifts to Shiv now. Jerry chimes in for Tom as well, I think. Logan's intrigued on Tom. Roman throws in Greg. Greg throws it back at Roman. And Connor volunteers himself and leaves them there. So, yeah, nothing really of note, but just a funny, intense scene of them all sitting at the table and throwing around names when they're all sitting there. I respect them for actually doing it in front of each other. But it was a nice deflect game. Who could we get? Everyone's kind of skeletons in the closet come up. So, who knows what Logan will decide. Instead of getting out of this and having to pick someone, Logan, of course, wants to be back with Stewie. So he's really interested in him, and him and Kendall go meet with Stewie to meet him and offer a deal. Stewie rejects and just instantly calls out Kendall's grill about cutting dicks off before he even says it. So he's got the playbook already on Kendall. He knows what he's going to say. So no Stewie, no outs. You got to pick somebody, Logan. Somebody's got to go under. Meanwhile, Shiv and Tom take a little beach trip / jet ski trip, and Tom has finally put the pieces together. It took him 2 seasons. He talks about Shiv throwing him under the bus in the meeting earlier, the open relationship request on their wedding night, and the no threesome. Good for Tom, man. I don't say a lot of positive things about Tom on this channel and throughout this watch through so far, but I do feel bad for him in the situation, and I'm glad he finally spoke his piece. He got what he needed to get out there, and I was happy for him here. He put everything out there. It wasn't the best to come back, and he says, I'm pretty unhappy a lot of the time. You got to feel for the guy. He's in this drama-ass family. He doesn't have as much money. He got walked over at his wedding, and just crazy. It's bad stuff, man, and you feel bad for Tom, and I hope him and Shiv can improve their relationship, maybe a little therapy in there or something to fix this, because it's not going as good as they want it to. So I love this from Tom. Say your piece. Don't let her just walk all over you. They come back to the boat, and Tom eats chicken off Logan's plate, then just puts it back. So maybe Tom's getting some masculinity. Can't be walked over by people anymore. He wants to prove that he's boss. And Logan's just like, what the fuck was that? But it was a funny moment. Tom, shout out to you, bro. Stock is rising for Tom as well. So Shiv, of course, is pulled in by Logan to do the final scheming on the decision. Obviously, it's going to be Shiv to pick because Shiv is so important to Logan. So they are scheming on Kendall. Come on, bro. You can't go in, it has to be one of the siblings, I guess, but of course, just throw it on Kendall because he hasn't been through enough or anything.
especially from Logan. Like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? Shiv like understands it and probably just doesn't want it to be her. So like she even says like she can't make the choice. She just doesn't want it to be Tom after all that. So Tom did a good job saving himself inadvertently by getting his feelings out there. Um, so Logan finally pulls Kendall into the room. I can't fucking believe it. He's throwing Kendall under the bus, and Kendall just agrees to everything. I was like, why is he agreeing to all this? Um, Come on, bro, fight for yourself. But this whole season he's been a beat down puppy dog after his incident in season one. So I'm like, this sucks for Kendall. I hate this, but it makes sense, I guess, from a business perspective. Kendall asks, was I ever the one? Was I ever going to be the successor? And he says, no, I don't think so. You just never had the killer instinct. So interesting one there. Yeah, my notes. This is sad as fuck, bro. Come on, bro. Logan just manipulating Kendall forever. I thought we were gonna get stuck in the loop. Kendall's gonna have to go to prison, like for this shit. Come on, bro. Ah. So Kendall, or they announce it at the dinner. Logan gives Roman full COO now, solo on his own, no co-running it with his brother. So good for Roman. I can't say it enough. Great season for Roman. Stock is up for Roman. We get the sad montage of Kendall and Greg flying back to I'm assuming either the office or DC to give this press conference. And Kendall turns the tables right back onto Logan. He says, I didn't do any of that shit as my dad. He's a vengeful liar, bunch of other stuff. I was hyped. I was ready to run through a wall after this. Team Kendall, boom. I was so happy when this happened. I'm ready for this next season. Team Kendall, as always. Greg, Team Kendall, he's got the documents ready on his side. Greg and Kendall versus the world, man. I'm ready. Astonished. They got me. I figured something was up, if I'm being honest, because like, why was all this time left? I guess just to give the press conference and then him like witness like him going to jail or something. I didn't know how it was gonna happen. Props to Kendall, bro. Wake up from the manipulation machine. Get your dad back. Let's run the shit back. Run this company, Kendall, even though I know it's unlikely. But I'm hyped. I'm hyped for season 3. They got me looped in. Good use of the cliffhanger here. And yeah, that's a season 2, man. What a season. What a finale. Awesome, awesome stuff. So as always, last favorite and least favorite of the season. Kendall, favorite. Let's go. Had a way to stand up to Logan. I thought you were going to go for his tricks and just be manipulated for life, but you didn't. So easy favorite goes to Kendall this one. Least favorite is going to Logan. You had easier options, low-hanging fruit, but you threw your own son to the wolves. Quit manipulating him, beating him while he's down. Fuck you. So yeah, that's season 2 of Succession. Would you guys agree with what I said? Would you disagree? Now that I'm grinding through this, I'm ready to put these episodes out every couple weeks. I know there was a gap between season 1 and season 2. I'm less busy now. Got a more schedule figured out, so ready to blast through Succession. And yeah, I thought season 2 was better than season 1. Hopefully season 3 is better. Someone I know who watched said season 2 is the best season, so I'll be the judge of that. So as always, thank you guys for watching. And like and subscribe, dislike if you disliked it. And yeah, I'm everywhere. Podcast coming out soon. House of the Dragon has ended by the time this will be out. Sports stuff coming up. We got NFL. I'm hoping to pull a lot of people on talk some NFL. I got some spicy takes as always. Other than that, movies might go on a movie grind after Succession. Succession will still be coming out. Penguin show in the fall. So got a lot of stuff content as always. We're about to episode 50. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Peace and be easy. And we ready. Team Kendall, season 3. Let's ride.